So yes, I officially welcome you to the Study Buddy webinar, and I'd like to quickly introduce myself, Sarika, and Dipesh to you. My name is Dhairya Gangwani. I'm an educator, a career coach, as well as a podcaster. I've been in this space for close to about 5 years, and I help students and working professionals with all things career and personality development. We have Sarika Dubey joining us all the way from UK, which is a very, very hot destination for a lot of you, as you mentioned in the chat. I'd like to quickly introduce Sarika to all of you as well. While you have an elaborate, introduction of her, she has done a lot of work in this space. She has been a UK resident herself for about 15 years, and she comes with 17 years of experience in IT. Currently, she's working as a lead business analyst and a product owner. She's built a social media presence which is very, very noteworthy, with over 500k followers across YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And she's guided over 10,000 plus students in securing global opportunities under her mentorship. Via her impact, she also earned a very recent recognition in the year 2023, where she got the Creator Award at the UK Parliament. And also she was she also received an upcoming influencer award from the Scottish Parliament. She's also been featured in Daily Mail and APN News, and I'm extremely delighted to be welcoming her today. With that, I'd like to also welcome Dipesh Verma, who's joining us. He is the business head of the forex department and the executive vice president at Thomas Cook. Today's discussion is going to be really, really interesting. But before we get into some very, very insightful, interesting questions that a lot of study abroad aspirants have, I want to first hand over the stage to Sarika, because she has a lot to share with you, being a UK resident now herself and having had her own journey. I'd like for her to share some real life insights and share with all of you how her journey has been, because that's going to be very insightful. So I'll hand it over to Sarika now.
Thank you, Dhairya. So first of all, thank you very much for such a lovely introduction, Dhairya. And thank you for all the audience who joined, and thank you for sending all your questions. So today what we have prepared is based on the questions that you have already shared. We can see from the questions that most of the people were asking questions related to UK and US. So in the slides that we have prepared, you will see we are focusing on UK and US, but it doesn't mean that if you have questions about any other country, you cannot ask. Make sure you write down your questions. When I go through the slides, you can ask at the end related to any country. If you want to focus on UK, US, Canada, Australia, or any part of the Europe, doesn't really matter. So make sure you ask your question, because our aim is to help you make your decisions. And if at all you have made your decision, either for UK, US, or any other country, you go out by learning something from today's session. That is our aim. One of the questions that we saw in the Q&A was about people were still confused whether you should still be going abroad to study in 2025 or 2026 or not. So the plain answer is yes. The reason why? Because already 76% of the students have already planned to be joining abroad to study in 2025. So if you have made your decision, you are one of the 76% of those. Now, most of the people are interested to go to UK and US, and the primary reason is the top class universities. In US, in the top 50, you will see there are top 16 universities which are from US versus UK, where you have 8 universities which comes under top 50. So most of the students, they are still interested to go to either UK, US, Canada, Australia, or Germany. And this is the recent research which has been published by various articles, in the various articles. And then what you will also see that there are other trends which is picking up. So after COVID, there was a little dip that students didn't want to move out because the market was still picking up, and most of these classes were happening online rather than face-to-face. Now, after the COVID, after a couple of years, the market is again picking up, where people are now more interested to go and study abroad, and the trend is back to what it was before the COVID time. And what's new in 2025? There are a lot of feedback which is given to all the universities, either it's UK, US, or any other country. So they are taking those feedback from the parents, from the students, and they're improving their system. So what you will see, there are more and more scholarships which are now published for international students so that they can afford it. They understand that most of the students who come are from middle class family, and hence they have increased the number of scholarship. Either it is a government based or it is a university based. So it will be more affordable for students who want to target all kind of university. You don't have to target the top universities. You can also target the medium tier universities as well. So it's more affordable, and hence it's more reachable to more people who want to study abroad. And also for the visa system, it was very strict before, and there was a lot of paperwork done. Now things are more digital. Now things are becoming better and smoother for anyone who wants to study abroad. So in short, for people who are interested to know whether it's a good time to study abroad or not, 100%. And from my experience of being in the UK for 15 years, I'm going to tell you, I tried to go back to India, but I couldn't. There are a lot of things that you learn and then you get used to it. For example, when I moved here to the UK, I didn't like the cold country. I took time to adjust to it. I did not understand the culture of UK. I took time to understand it. When you come from India, you will appreciate a lot of other things as well, especially the work-life balance. So when you move out, it shapes you. It's going to change you completely. I would have been a very different person if I was in India versus what I am now in the UK. So if you have made your decision, this is going to change your life, and mostly it will change you for good. Whatever your experience would be, whether it's good or bad, it will definitely shape you the person that you are today. Moving to the next slide. Now, I'm going to do a quick comparison of UK and US because people wanted to know about the tuition fee, why it is expensive US versus UK. The main reason, as you can see from my slide, in the UK, the master's is only of 1 year. That's why you pay the tuition fee for 1 year. However, in the US, the master's is of 2 years. So you pay the tuition fee for 2 years. That's why it's expensive. So on the first slide here, you can see in the UK, if you plan to study, on an average, again, this is an average. Of course, there are more expensive universities as well, and they're less expensive as well. But on an average, you will have to spend £15,000 to £25,000 for 1 year if it's a master. And of course, if you're taking a bachelor's, which is of 3 years, you will have to do into 3 years. And the living cost in the UK, again, talking to students and the kind of person you are, there are some people who wants to live alone and not share the room versus people who are okay with sharing. Your cost will also differ, but on an average, let's say £12,000 to £15,000 average student spends in a year. Now, if you look at US, you will be spending £25,000 to £60,000 per year in the tuition fee, and your living expense will range anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000, again depending on students. Where are you living? Are you living in the outskirts or are you in the center of the city? So your cost will also vary according to it. In terms of work regulations, some of you were interested, will you be allowed to work after you study or while studying? So both the countries, the rule is the same. You will be allowed to work for 20 hours per week while you are studying. And during the term break, you can also work full time. For example, if it's a Christmas break, you can take advantage of working full month and you can earn a lot of money if you want during that time. Now, in terms of post-study work permit, in the UK, if you're doing your master's or your bachelor's, you are allowed to work in the UK on a graduate visa, which is given for 2 years. However, if you're doing a PhD, it is for 3 years. Now, in the US, if you are not a STEM student, then it is for 1 year. 1 year OPT visa is given to you. However, if you're a STEM student, then 3 years of post-study work permit is given to you. Now, remember, one question which was very common from the students was about the path to settlement. So UK, if you manage to find a sponsored job from a licensed sponsor, you can settle here in the UK in 5 years, which is easy. However, in the UK, you may have already heard about H-1B visa. Yes, you can get a sponsored job there as well. Yes, you can get through the lottery, but the green card takes a lot of time. So if your aim is about settling down, maybe UK is a better option for you. However, it's good to know that there are different visa systems, immigration systems, and different work permits which allow you to work and settle in that country. Now, here I'll do a little job market comparison. You may hear in the news that some of the people who had went to either UK or US, they did not manage to get a job. They are returning back because even they studied from the top tier university, they were not able to handle or they were not able to crack interviews, or there were no jobs at all. Now, globally, the job market is slow. It's getting better. Last year, the market was really slow. I can see already from the stats which is published by the different government and UK and US, the graph is going up. So it's getting better. However, it is still a tough market. So make if you know the skills which are in demand in your country, you will always be needed there. However, if you have a skill or a degree which is not needed in the market, you will struggle. So even though you take a degree which is not in demand, make sure you understand the gap of the market and start learning that skill as soon as possible. I'll give you an example of there are certain MBA students who moved here to the UK. When they moved here, they realized there was no kind of scope for them because they did not have any prior experience. They quickly realized that there's a huge demand for data analytics. So they learned it in 6 months and they started applying for the job, and they have managed to get two visa sponsorship job for themselves. So this is just one example of an MBA student. So irrespective of whatever you're planning to study, if you see there's a less demand, if you have already made a decision about it, make sure you identify the gap, learn it, and then start applying for the job. So coming back to UK, you can study after your studies, either your bachelor's or master, you can work here for 2 years. But remember, you need to pass the exam. If you don't pass the exam, you will have to go back to your country or you will have to look for a sponsored job to stay in the UK. Some of the sectors which are in huge demand is healthcare, finance, and tech. And if you don't have too much of experience, say you're a fresher or 1-2 years of experience, you can expect a salary from 25,000 to 35,000. Now for US, like explained, for STEM students, you will have 3 years of work permit. So make sure you try to find a sponsored job during that time, target H-1B. And also I know there are a lot of smarter students, they also target another type of visa category, which is called O1, which is exceptional visa as well. And the demand sectors in US is very similar to what you see in the UK, which is IT, engineering, and biotech. However, the big difference that you will see is the entry-level salary in the US is much higher as compared to UK. So it's around 50,000 to 85,000 because UK pays less as compared to the US market. Now, again, I say both the markets are pretty good. If you have the right skills and experience, definitely you can excel. But again, if you struggle anytime, make sure you get a mentor for yourself. Having the right mentorship at the right stage can definitely help you a lot. Now, for people who are confused which country to choose, again, I'm going to put it very simple. If you have less money, UK is cheaper because the master's is of 1 year here and the bachelor's 3 years. And for the US, the master's is 2 years, so you will have to pay more for the tuition fee, and the bachelor's is 4 years. So if you have less money and if you have secured less scholarship, then definitely UK can be your choice. And second, if you're looking for settlement, at the moment, UK is still better as compared to the US because, again, US is going through a lot of changes because of the Trump administration. However, if your aim is to study in the top 16 universities, which is in the US, go for US. And if you really are looking for a high earning salary, US is the place for you. If you compare the US and UK salary, definitely US pays much more as compared to UK. So those are the two differences. So look at what is your end goal, and based on that, you can make your decision. Now, if you guys have already made decisions, this slide is for you, especially for people who are saying what to pack. So now remember, this is quite personal, but I'm going to divide this into must and priority. So the first is the documents. You have to carry this. It's not an optional thing for you. Your passport, and especially the page with the visa sticker that you have, you need to have that. You need to have your admission letter. And you need to book your accommodation in advance. You just cannot go without booking your accommodation. So make sure you book your accommodation. Then at the airport, you will be asked questions about where are you going? What is your address? So you will have to show the proof of the address of the accommodation that you have booked for yourself. Make sure you also carry your academic transcripts, original and copies if you can. And for UK, for example, tuberculosis test is a must. So make sure you have that. And any kind of medication reports that you have, make sure you have it with you. Now, in essentials, I've written weather because UK, we have summer for short time, and if you're coming for September, it will start getting cold. So at least have your basic winter clothing for so that you can survive for 1 or 2 months. And of course, you can shop here. You have all kind of shops here. There's nothing that you don't get either in UK and US. But at least make sure you come prepared for the first 3 months. Packing the right clothing, electronics, adapter, because both UK and US, they have a different kind of pin in the market. now you get something called as universal adapter. You don't need to worry whether it's UK, US, or Europe. Just buy that. Whichever country you travel, it will make your life really easy. And personally for me, I did add a little bit of Indian spices when I was moving here, especially also like Maggi stuffs. I know students would crave for it, especially at night while studying. So I have kind of little bit of snacking kind of stuff if you have from your home. And I know parents will pack some stuffs, homemade stuffs for you, like your laddus and whatever you can bring along with you. You'll be surprised to know when you move either to the UK or US, there will be a lot of Indian gatherings and festivals. So carry at least one of your traditional attire where you can wear it, because we celebrate all the festivals. People think when we move abroad, we don't celebrate festivals. In fact, we celebrate more than what Indians do in India. Now we feel that. So make sure you carry all your traditional attire, because I didn't carry it because I thought, okay, I didn't know about the culture that time, but I found it's more. Now I think I do have a lot of my traditional attire here. So make sure Diwali will be coming, and more festivals in the coming months as well. So make sure you carry something with you. And again, if you are on medication, make sure you have your medication prescription and any kind of other basic health kit. Now, very quickly touching upon 5 must-do things upon landing in the UK. Now, when you get your visa in India, when you apply for it, what you get on your passport is a sticker. That is a student visa sticker. However, that is not actually your visa. So when you land in the UK, you should be collecting your BRP, which is your biometric residence permit, within the 10 working days, which is very essential. And all the details are already sent to you when you apply for it. You will have to go to the nearest post office based on your postal address that you have given. And the other thing is NHS. People doesn't know that if you don't register in NHS, if you fall sick, they will not see you, or you may have to pay a lot of money. So this is very important. I have seen students, the moment they land here, they fall sick because they are not able to adjust to the weather. And if you don't register yourself, it will be a nightmare for you guys. So this is very important for you guys. Make sure also open your bank account the moment you settle down. Again, address is very important. Your address, your passport details, and then once you have your BRP as well, they will be asking for the BRP to open a bank account. Then you can open your bank account as well. Once you have all the details, some of the banks you can of course target: Santander, HSBC, Barclays, Monzo, and many more banks. Now, in terms of the most worrying thing that I have seen students here is not able to connect to people or their family the moment they land here. Back in the days when I moved here, there was no concept of getting a local SIM card before landing here, and internet was also not that great or thing. So my parents were worried till the time I did not call them. You guys don't have to worry. So you can carry the local SIM even before you leave India. So I know Thomas Cook already provides the SIM card. So you guys can get a free SIM card from them so that your parents can be happy. They don't have to worry whether you landed or not. You can give them all the real-time information the moment you land in UK. The next is NI number. Like in India, we have a PAN card, right? Why do you need a PAN card? So that you can pay the taxes, and then government knows how much you're earning. So in the same way, both the countries, UK and US, there's something called in UK as NI number. So you need to apply for NI number if you want to work here. So that if you work for a part-time or full-time, you need to provide your NI number so your relevant tax can be deducted from it. In terms of transport, I'm going to quickly touch upon most of the students. You will realize that UK is expensive. Of course, US is also expensive. Both the countries expensive, but you can take advantage of the local transport system, which is cheaper. And also for students, you will see those tickets are given at a discounted amount. So make sure you explore wherever you are in the UK, whether it's in London, outside London, get a Oyster card or a bus monthly pass, which will be cheaper for you. Dharya, can you move to next slide? Thank you. Now, in US, very similar to what I explained in the UK, you got to follow the same thing. The terminologies are different. For example, when I say apply for SSN number, so basically it's the same kind of social security number. It's like a PAN card number for US. If you want to work there, make sure you have it. You need to complete your I-94 arrival record, which you can download from Customs and Border Protection website, which is after your arrival. And the next is about your attending your orientation and SEVIS check-in. SEVIS is your student and exchange visitor information system, which is the government database, which is to track all the international students who have moved there. Remember, if you don't do it, you can be terminated from your university as well. So make sure you do it within your first 10 days when you land in the US. And then other basic things like opening your bank account, make sure you get your health insurance, and then join the student groups as much as possible. Now, Most of you guys are always worried about job. Yeah, we want to know how to get a job, whether it's a part-time job or a full-time job. Now remember guys, when you are working, like explained, sorry, when you're studying, you are allowed to work only 20 hours per week in both the countries, UK and US. However, in your term break you can work full-time, and the moment you finish your studies you can work full-time after that. Now the first place where you should start is your campus. Not too many people know that within your university, they also hire people for different roles. You can apply for the roles like student ambassador. In IT, they have a lot of roles in the beginning role, like a junior data analyst or admin roles are there. They're the library, and there are many other roles which you can apply within your university. So look at the career boards, look at the what are the other career services guidance which is provided within your university. So give priority to your campus. That is the first thing. Second, build your network. A recent research showed that in US and UK, 70% of people who landed a job was through references. That's why building your network becomes really important. So if your friend managed to get a job, ask him, how did he get it? Is there any kind of opportunity available there as well? Can he refer you so that you can also apply jobs? So always ask for reference. Don't have any kind of ego that you don't want to ask people, you want to apply on your own. Build your network, ask your people, speak to your seniors, stay connected with your alumni groups. Now, one very important thing also I'm going to say, not too many people know, but there are huge Facebook groups which are created for students. If you just go after the session and look for say Indian students in London, Indian students in UK, Indian students in USA, in Chicago, Colombia, you'll find many Facebook groups. Wherever you're going, make sure you connect yourself with those Facebook groups so that you can ask for help. And generally you will see people will help you. It can be any silly question, doesn't really matter. I've seen the unity becomes really stronger when you move outside of India. Again, don't quote me, but I have seen from my experience, people do come out of their comfort zone to even help people. So make sure you're connected, join all the student groups. There are a lot of WhatsApp groups as well, Telegram groups. Make sure you join all the professional meetups. It does happen a lot. So also follow some of your influencers if you are fond of anybody. There are different kind of professional network or career webinars which generally happens every month or alternate month. So make sure you go out, make friends and network as much as possible. And if you don't happen to find a job through campus resources or network building, make sure you go out of your comfort zone, talk to the local cafes, and it can be also about the retail outlets, it can be shops, it can be anything. Go out and talk and make sure you find a job for yourself. These initial jobs are very important because what I have seen, when you land to a new country, people find very difficult to communicate. People find difficult to even understand the accent. When you start with these small little jobs, your confidence also kind of boost up. You see that yes, you can talk to them, you can talk to the local, they can understand you, and you can also understand them. So that is a very good way for you guys to start your part-time job. Doesn't matter what job it is a voluntary jobs as well. Just go for it. Let's talk about some of the challenges. When you move out, life is not going to be the same. First of all, this is the first time you'll be out without your family. So of course, it's bound to be it's natural to feel homesick. Yeah. So I went through that journey. So you will go through that journey. So just attending a webinar and then, okay, I know I'll feel homesick. You will still go through that phase. Everybody will go through that phase. What you have to do, what worked for me was, I had my strong friends here, your network, so that you can lean on them. You have a company and then you'll feel better. Of course, you can have your regular calls with your family so that you get that kind of emotional support that you need. Now, you will also see a little bit of difference in the culture when you land in the UK or US. So you have to be ready for it. Do not get into a depression. Most of the students I see in the initial months, they cannot adjust and they get into depression. There are students who get depressed because of the weather. They couldn't adjust. So there are different reasoning. So make sure you are more open, you're willing to learn and adapt to the new culture. In terms of financial management, again, I'm going to touch upon something. People compare now everything with Indian rupees, whether you're spending in pounds or dollars. You will say, oh my God, this is so expensive, I'm not going to spend that. But be mentally prepared. Both the countries are expensive. So whatever is the local amount, you will be charged for it. So of course, you have to stop that calculation of rupees into pounds and dollars. However, make sure you have a rough estimate of how much you're spending in a month so that you don't go over your budget and you can have a better financial management. Also, some of the students may also see that how we are being taught in India is different to what we are taught in US and UK. You will see there's a lot of focus on the internships. There's more focus on your research. There's more focus on your hands-on as compared to theoretical. So it will be a new way of learning for you. Make sure you're open to that. And then, of course, once you understand what are they looking for, you can thrive. Now, this is my last slide before I wrap up today's slides. So I'm going to just give you a little glimpse of what's happening in both the countries at the moment, UK and US. If you're listening to the news, you may hear both the countries announce major changes in their immigration. Some already implemented the new rule, and US will be implementing as well, or there may be new changes which will be coming. Now, both the market is tough. When I say tough, there's a demand for higher skilled people. If you are kind of lower skilled people, especially the sectors which are not in demand, you will struggle. So you need to identify your job, which sector you belong to. For example, please do not hate me if I say, for example, if you're from HR, if you go to either US or a UK, you will struggle. You will not find a sponsored job for yourself. So make sure the sectors which I have mentioned before, if you're part of that, and then you have some private experience, you are going to still excel, provided that you also network with the right people. Now, UK is also making very clear that they need higher skilled people, and they want to give preference to the local people. The only way how you can do better than the local people is learning new skills, having some good experience needed for that job, and creating your personal branding. Now, coming to US, you may already hear about the changes that Trump has announced. They talked about the suspension of the new F1, M1 and J1 visa interview, and they're also looking at your social media profile. So if you're applying in US, make sure whatever you put on your social media, just be very careful about it. Do not put any harsh or any comments against any country, whether it's US, UK, India, or anything. Just be very careful. Just make it personal profile rather than making it do not make any comments which may impact your visa. And there are also some changes which may come under Trump. They are already talking about eliminating of OPT, but again, this is still in discussion. So that's all I'm going to say. But whatever decision you're making, it will change your life. Make sure you go prepared. Things may look difficult to begin with, but if you have the right planning strategy, you can crack the market. Like I said, don't feel lost. Get a mentor for yourself. If you think you need a roadmap how to navigate the local market, you can reach out to us or anybody in your local market. Thank you, Dharya. Over to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sarika. That was lovely. And I think this has been very, very insightful and informative for everyone. I think we had a lot of questions obviously come in. And while you answered most of them, Sarika, we do have a few, very common questions that I'd like to address now, and probably we can take it from there because this will further simplify the entire study abroad journey for folks who are joining in. So to begin with, Sarika, apart from everything that you covered, one common thing that a lot of students keep asking is that what's the kind of upfront amount, right, in terms of funds that a student needs to show in order to get their visa, whether it's for the US or the UK? That's a very burning question that keeps coming up. So if you could throw some light on that.
Yeah. So the first thing is, I think students don't understand, or when parents apply, they don't understand they have to show the funds, proof of funds for tuition fee and also living expenses. So let's talk about UK. So like I said, tuition fee in the UK on an average is £15,000, say, to £32,000. And the living expense annually is £12,000. So anyone applying for a London university, you will have to show on an average £27,000 to £32,000 of proof of funds. And now comparing with US, your tuition fee is around, say, £30,000 to £55,000, and you say again living expense is £10,000 annually to £20,000. So you will have to show a total proof of funds of around $40,000 to $75,000. That is very important. The only difference is for the UK, they have mentioned that you should hold this fund in your account for 28 consecutive days. However, for US, there's no particular guidelines. However, the solicitors and the immigration advisors, they say you should keep it at least for 3 to 6 months if you don't want your visa to be rejected.
So I think, thanks Sarika for that. Next, I also want to know a little bit on the cards bit, right? What kind of cards, apps, tools, in fact, are really useful when it comes to managing expenses as a student in both of the countries? If you can, again, share some resources.
Yeah. So when students come here, they come with a lot of cash. In prior days, there were not too many banks or the companies who had like pre-loaded card which they can use it. But the good thing is now there are many companies now. In fact, I know about Thomas Cook, and I also know about forex prepaid travel cards, so that they have less hassle when they move here. They can use that card for their initial kind of spend. Either it's for their say they're for living cost, or they're for food, or for their transport. In terms of other apps that they should be using, there's something called as Uni Days. Now, remember, first of all, I'm going to tell you, whether you are in UK, US, or any other country, all these countries, they give discount to students. Whether you go to a restaurant, whether you go to travel for clothing, or wherever you go, most of these retail outlets as well, they give discount to students. So ask them before buying anything, is there any student discount? And you'll be surprised to know that 70 to 80% of the time they will say yes. So you can save money. So there's an app called Uni Days or Student Beans. You can download that. There's another app which is called Too Good to Go. Now, it is both in UK and US, some cities of US. So what happens, most of these restaurants who have a lot of stocks of food left and which is about to near its expiry date, they put it on sale so that people can buy it at a very discounted amount, which you can do. And of course, make sure whichever country you are, you download the app of the transport. For example, if you're in London, make sure you have the tube map so that you know how to navigate. You have your Oyster card to save money, and if you buy a monthly kind of bus package, it will cost you less money rather than buying your ticket every day. So those are the few things I believe if students can start looking into it, that will help them also save money.
Yes, so I was saying that those are some great resources and hacks as well. I really hope that the audience takes note and implements them. I think next, talking a little bit about accommodation as well, Sarika, because that's a big question that comes up when you're moving to an entirely different country. Do you think it's a better choice to move into the university accommodation provided to the students, or is it better to probably take up like a private flat and live there? What's more safer or more cheaper when it comes between these two options?
My personal advice to people, for the first 3 months, make sure you stay in the university campus. There are various reasons. First of all, you'll stay connected with all the new students who are joining with you. You'll get to know your batchmates. That is where you will make strong bonds and friendship. If you stay outside, you will not be as connected to the people or the students in your batch. So I'm going to say first 3 months, go to the university, the camp accommodations in university. It may be a little expensive, but it is worth it, totally worth it. Because what I have seen students, they go and make friends and they have a good network. After 3 months, they all together move out, then you find accommodation. And when you're new to a country, it's always nice to be at a more secure place, because all these university campuses and accommodations, it's a completely, the security is pretty high, the CCTV coverage is there, and generally all your bills are included. You don't have to give anything on top of it, say your Wi-Fi bills or for washing your clothes or anything. It's everything is included. And then also you will have your long-term contract as well. You can get it for 3 months or 6 months. You don't have any issues about getting a guarantor, because once you move to a private apartment, you will need a local guarantor for yourself. And if you don't have families here, it will be difficult for you to find a local guarantor. So that is what I'm going to say. Start living in the accommodation provided by the university for 3 months. It will help you to network with people. You will have a strong foundation as well. And then once you make friends, then together, in a group of 3 or 6 people, you can move out, if you find something cheaper. But make sure initially have that kind of initial stay in the university campuses.
Great. I think, Sarika, with that, I think it's a good time to also talk about the culture shock that a lot of people talk about again. It's a preconceived notion, or it's something that a lot of students are worried about as well. When, students move to the UK or the US, how can they be more prepared for the culture shock, and what can they do?
I'll start with UK. So what you will see, guys, they are very polite. When you move to the UK, you will have to learn that. I felt when I moved here, I was very direct. They are not very direct. Yeah, they will, if they don't like you, for example, they'll not tell you they don't like you. Yeah, may be very sweet, and you may think, hey, they like me, but actually they may tell the whole world that they don't like you except you. So whether you like it or not like it, but that is the fact. I have learned it. I have trained myself how to be like a British person, because I have to work with them. They're reserved as well, but you'll find them really polite, and their communication is not direct, it's indirect. However, US is completely different. Sometimes initially when I moved to the UK, when I was struggling here in the UK, I thought I should have gone to US, because when my friends went to US, they found they were very direct, very much like in India. If I have to give a feedback to someone in India, I was giving a direct feedback rather than sugarcoating it. Here, if they have to tell you you're not good at your job, they may not be able to tell you very directly you're not good at your job. Yeah, they will have to use 10 phrases. If I was in India, I will say, hey, you're not good at your job. In US, they will tell you, hey, you're not good at your job. So you will see that kind of difference. In US, it's very direct. There are people who don't like direct communication, then US is not for you maybe. But again, like I said, I train myself, and I have also learned my British way of becoming little indirect when I have to give, either I have to communicate or give that kind of communication. The other thing which I talked about, people, especially from South India, that when they move to UK, US, they find very bizarre about the weather condition. It's cold country, they struggle. Especially in South India, we have almost summertime. So I've seen many students also, like I said, there are real cases of depression. But however, enjoy the weather, whatever it be, whichever country you are going. So you will not get everything in one country. So make sure you are aware of the weather and the climate, whichever country you're choosing. Both UK and US is little cold country. In terms of social interactions, you will see UK people, they like small talks. The first thing they are going to see when they see you in the mornings, they are going to say, hey, good morning, you all right? So you have to learn that small things or small talks so that you can build those conversations. And they like to talk about the weather. So you have to learn that whenever you go out, you have to ask, you all right? And you should know how to answer it. You should learn about, say, football. I had no interest in football before moving to the UK, but I saw they talk a lot about football. So I learned about football so that I can strike some conversation. They talk less about cricket. So keep those conversations for your Indian friends and maybe learn something that they're interested, so that you can build your relation. So once you make yourself likable to them, then you are in a good zone. Till the time you don't make yourself likable, then it's a difficult zone. However, the US people, they're more open, they're more outgoing. UK people are a little reserved as well. They will not let you come in your close group. In 15 years, I'm going to say I don't have very close friends, British people, except two. I have good network of people, professional network, but in terms of friends, I don't have. But again, you will see US people, they are very outgoing, they are very open. They are also a faster pace as compared to UK. In terms of, I'm going to touch upon one thing which people may like it or not like it. In terms of work-life balance, UK is the perfect place. 9 to 5 is what you come and do your job. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. After that, doesn't really matter. However, in US, you will see the work pressure is really high. I've seen people leaving office at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. So the work culture and the pressure is very similar to India and US. However, UK is very laid back as well, which also means it gives you equal amount of time to spend with your family. Nobody can call you after 5 p.m. And also, during my lunch break, actually, this is my lunch break. It's up to me how I can use my lunch break. I can go for swimming, I can go for walking, I can go for cooking, or I can clean my house, or I can go for a walk with my dog, or I can have a webinar. It's totally up to me. So this 1 hour is given to you, you can utilize it. There's a lot of flexible working. I can log in early and I can leave early because it's Friday. So those are the things you may not see too much in the US. However, you will see that in the UK. In UK, you will see people have little bit more manners. They will have a long queue. They don't want to jump the queue. They want to follow the rules. They are more disciplined as compared to maybe what I know from the US people. But again, those are small bits. Once you are there, you will observe it, you will learn it. So make sure you adjust as well, so that you feel like them and you don't feel out of place.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sarika. I think the entire audience would have gained a lot of knowledge on the couple of questions we've been able to cover. I'll come back to you when we open in the floor for the Q&A, for the audience. But I think it's time to bring in Dipesh now. We've had Dipesh join us from the Thomas Cook team, and I'd love to hear from Dipesh. And for all of you to know a little bit more about something extremely exciting, and it's an amazing, opportunity as well. So Dipesh, over to you.
Thank you. Sarika, that was extremely informative. And, before I start, I want to thank everyone for joining this session. As you're all aware, Thomas Cook is the largest and the most trusted forex brand in India. We're spread across 140 countries, 40 city branches, and more than 60 cities. But what a lot of people are not aware of is that we are the largest forex prepaid card provider, in India, and we sell around 6 lakh of cards every year, and on a monthly basis we have 10 lakh transactions. What that technically means is that, if you can just go back to the previous slide. Sorry, I won't go this bit later, but what that technically means is that we have a lot of experience because we've been issuing cards since 2013. We have a lot of experience in terms of what the customer requires. And 3 years back, we took this initiative, post getting feedback from a lot of students, that we were able to create a product called Study Buddy, which was specifically curated for the student population. And I will come back in subsequent slides. I will talk to you about the features of this card. But what we also did was we were able to create around 70 videos last year, which you can watch on our website, which is covering the entire life cycle of a student, from inspiring him for what course he needs to take, to the financial requirement, and a lot of things what Sarika mentioned. So you have an opportunity to go to our website and see those 70 videos. But once again, before I go to the next slide, I want to thank everyone for joining this webinar, and I sincerely hope that we are able to add some value to this beautiful journey that you're planning to do. So if you can just move to the next slide, which is the Study Buddy card. The Study Buddy card is a borderless multi-currency card. We're giving benefits worth 21,000. So if you are remitting a fee of, let's say, $5,000, you get 5,000 rupees Amazon voucher. If you spend USD 500 at the university, you get again 500 rupees Amazon voucher. So one is loading the card, the first one, and the second is while you're spending in UK or US or whichever country you are studying, you get 500 rupees Amazon voucher, which you can gift it to people in India. Another important element that we have added to this card is that you get 3,000 rupees worth discount on ILR flight tickets. And we have got the edge points, which is the loyalty edge points. You get 5,000. So let's say your remitting fees or your loading cards worth $5,000, you get 5,000 loyalty bonus points, which is there. Plus you get a 3,000 international flight ticket discounted rate. Once you transact with us, this card will also give you an Uber ride worth 1,000 rupees. So this particular ride would be from your home to the airport. Obviously, we give free lounge access to the international airport in India. We give you a SIM card. So once you reach your destination, you don't have to worry about it. We give you a free Isaac card. And then there is a ATM withdrawal fees, which is there. So we've tried to get the voice of the student, and we have tried to curate a product called the Study Buddy card, and we have built in benefits that's approximately worth 21,000 rupees. We can go to the next slide. Other benefits on this is complimentary insurance cover. In case you lose your card, we've got emergency cash assistance. We've got free cash replacement. A lot of times in the university, you can swipe the card over the counter. We have the lowest, which charges around 0.5%. And we have there are a lot of all-point ATMs across UK where there are no charges on ATM withdrawals. You can do multiple withdrawals without any charge. So all these products and benefits that we have built is post the feedback that we have got for the last 13, 14 years on issuing these cards and the last 3 years study buddy. You can move to the next slide. That's the 3 principles of how we build our product, which is smart, secure, and convenient. I will not go through all these, but we work with MasterCard and Visa, so it can be used everywhere. We have chip and pin protected, and we can provide you with a backup card at zero cost. And just to let you know that we are agnostic to the channel. We are available on the website. We are available on the app. We have a 24/7 call center. So if you're facing any issues, you can give us a call and you reach out to us through any of these. That's it from my I hope this webinar is useful for you, and I'm sure there are a lot of questions for Sarika. So thank you, David. Thank you, Sarika.
Thank you so much, Dipesh. I think this is a wonderful product, and I really hope that the audience can probably, put this to use whenever they are traveling to their dream destinations, whether it's UK or the US. I think with that, it's time to look into what the audience has in store for us as well. I think, Sarika, there are a lot of questions. I'm going to quickly move into the Q&A tab, because that's where ideally we would have questions from students. I'd like to also prompt in to just let you know that we're opening in officially for Q&A right now. So if you have any kind of questions for Sarika that you want to ask her regarding studying in the US or the UK, or studying abroad in general, please drop them in the chat box or the Q&A tab, whatever is feasible for you, and we'd love to take up the most relevant ones. I think to begin with, we have a question here, Sarika, from Angela. She's asking that if one is applying for a loan, do they still have to show 28-day funds? The history when showing proof of funds.
No, you don't have to show them 28 days, but you have to show all the official documents. When was you applied for the loan, when it was sanctioned. So you have to provide your still bank statement of your last 3 months. Everything still needs to be provided. And of course, you can highlight the bit when you get the fund in your account. Of course, it's clear, but if you highlight and add your comment, that will be useful.
Got it. Wonderful. I hope that answers your question, Angela. With that, I'm just quickly looking into the question that Swapnil has typed. It's slightly lengthy, but I'll try to condense it. Swapnil has over 10 years of professional experience across various domains, he's considering pursuing an MBA in the UK. Based on his research, he feels that an MBA is truly valuable only when you do it from a top-tier university. However, they come with a high tuition fee. So given in this particular situation, he wants to understand what are the actual realistic ideal prospects that exist for someone like him. And his goal is to work full-time in the UK post-MBA. What kind of job opportunities specifically after pursuing MBA can he consider, can he look at, considering the current state of the job market? And additionally, he wants to improve his chances of securing a substantial scholarship for a reputable MBA program. So he has 2 parts to the question.
Yeah, so first of all, I'm going to say you have done your good research. So what you have already read about MBA. Yes, if you don't do from a top tier university, doing an MBA from a low or medium tier is of no use. And then just doing an MBA from top tier is also not good. I'll tell you why. MBA is made, you said you have 10 years of experience, which is pretty good, because MBA is made for experienced people. And if you already have a good experience back from India and say you're working for MNC, it will be pretty good. However, just doing an MBA in this competitive world may not work. What will work is you need to understand the job market, you need to understand what is needed in the market, and you have to learn that skills. It's good if you have already checked what is covered in your course. Some of the times what I've seen, even the top tier universities, they're still outdated. They have still not adjusted, or they have not modified it based on how the market is changing. If you don't say, for example, if you don't have a module about AI now, I don't think the universities are catching up. So you need to go through the module of those universities, the top tier universities that you are looking for. Of course, it's going top universities are expensive. There are 2 types of scholarships which is provided in the UK. One is university funded, one is government funded. So if government funded, for example, Commonwealth Scholarship, Rhodes Scholarship, and there are many more. If you have already applied through them, and if you have got through, then you can get almost 100% free scholarships and you can study. But you will have to return back to your country. You cannot study here. If you take the government funded scholarships, After your master's, you need to go back to India. That is the catch. However, if you take the university funded scholarship, how does it happen? So based on your profile that you submit and based on the grades that you have, based on, say, the research work that you have done in India, they will look at your profile, whether you qualify or not, and based on your profile, they'll offer you. For example, if the total fees is, say, £35,000, based on your profile, they may give you £5,000 off, and you may have to pay 30. So the sooner you apply, the earlier you apply, better are your chances to get your scholarship, because when it's come to the end, they have very limited slots left for scholarship. So that is the first thing I'm going to say. Now you're saying you want to work full time. Yes, and after doing your MBA, the market is tough and competitive. Like I said, just doing a degree is not enough. You need to top up your skills with something more which is in demand. For example, I was giving you an example during my presentation about a student who did an MBA. They learned about the analytics. They realized even with an MBA, you require to know dashboarding tools, for example, like Tableau and Power BI. If you don't know that, maybe people will not take you. That is required to do your research work. That is required for you to analyze the data. So identify what are the skills needed, learn it. It doesn't need to be part of your course. Learn it through YouTube, Coursera, Udemy, wherever you want. And then add that to your CV. That is what I'm going to say. Did I answer this question? Was there more questions?
You did. I think you answered Swapnil's question. Angela, although, has a follow-up question for you, Sarika. She's asking that if the 3-month statement is to be shown and we have applied for a loan, does the bank statement need to have 32,000 GBP equivalent balance in it?
From what I know, yes. And if you don't, I have also seen people where their visa was refused unless until you provide some additional letter. From my knowledge and from what students have shared and the solicitors back in India, I will say yes.
Okay. So the answer to your question, Angela, follow-up question is yes. Moving on, we have a question from Sumil. How do application requirements differ between the UK and the US and other popular destinations, so to say?
Not too much of difference. I'll tell you what happens globally, to be honest. Of course, for example, in UK, they will be asking you IELTS exam for English language. In US, they will be asking for TOEFL. Those are small bits. But if you categorize that under English language, it's still the same. Most of the universities globally, your first criteria is your academic records, how you have performed, whether you are applying for bachelor's or master's, whatever was your previous degree, how did you perform? That is the first thing. Second thing, which is not always the deciding factor, but that is mostly the deciding factor, but the remaining bit which can contribute you to get into your dream universities is about what else have you done other than your degree. For example, did you do any voluntary jobs? What have you done? How have you contributed back to the society is very important in US, UK or any part of the world. Yeah, in India, I don't know at the moment, maybe they just look at your academic records, but abroad, they will look at what other things, how you have contributed back to the society. So if you have done something, make sure add it, add a lot of evidence around it. If you have done any voluntary jobs as well, it can be anything that you've done outside your work, outside your degree. They really give a lot of weightage to it. And the third thing is about preparing your SOP, which is about how do you write your story? What do you want to do with this degree? This is very important. If you are a good storyteller, you will definitely get into the top universities. If you can convince them this degree is going to achieve you this goal, this is what you're planning to do. Once you learn that, I think that can be a deciding factor. I have also seen students who scored only 60% in their say bachelor's, but they managed to get into a good universities because they have written their story very beautifully. So it's all about your storytelling as well. So those are the important bits. And of course, when you apply for the visa, make sure your English language, proof of funds and other. In terms of application process, it's almost the same. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much once again, Sarika. I think all the questions that we've had so far, we've answered them in the interest of time and of the participants and everybody else. I think that's a wrap for today's session.
But one more question from Sumit Podian, if I'm not mistaken.
We just took that. Yeah, we did. We took up Sumisha's question just now. I think with that, thank you once again, everyone, for taking out your time and attending the webinar. Thank you so much, Sarika and Dipesh, for coming in and, answering all the questions and queries. I think that's it from our end, but I'm pretty sure that the folks can reach out to Sarika for any further questions with respect to study abroad in the UK. And I think, Dipesh, anything that you want to add on? Sarika, over to you.
Thank you. It was a wonderful session. Thank you, Sarika. It was very informative, and I'm sure a lot of children will benefit out of this. And yes, I mean, in the true spirit of 24/7 from Thomas Cook End, if anything is required from remitting your fees to cards, we are there. You just need to give us a call or go to our website app. We are there to serve you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. Wishing you a very happy weekend.
I just want to wish all the best to all the students who had made their decision to move abroad. This is going to change your life. Be positive, be ready to learn new things. You will face challenges, but be ready for it. That is what will make you strong. And if at all you need help, my social handle is Your Knowledge Buddy. You will see my videos on YouTube. You will see on Instagram. And if you require mentorship, you can reach out to me. All the best to everyone. Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.